Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? Today we're going to be talking about a topic that has messed with my mind quite a bit over the few years. It's the argument or the discussion between specialization versus diversification. So while I was growing up, my dad always told me the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. And if you're new to that saying, let me explain it a bit. What it means is that if you want to do anything, get to the top of your field. He was an anesthesiologist and he was oh wow, the consultant anesthesiologist, the only consultant anesthesiologist in Delta State, and he was at the top of his field. And what he meant by that was that several times when he tried to finish his program, he was delayed by those who ran the program, and they kept him from finishing it many times. Oh wow, I have to take this out. Wow, where did that come from? But he was delayed from the program many times, and a few years he tried and tried again, and he gave up on the program, and he just stopped trying to become a consultant anesthetist. And then he went back, and finding out the reason he went back really, really inspires me. He told my mom and some of his friends that the reason he's going back is because of my brother and I. He doesn't want us to ever make excuses for ourselves in the future that, okay, I stopped because it was hard. He wanted to be able to say with confidence that no matter how hard it is, you keep pushing and pushing until you get what you need, what you want to achieve. And that's his argument for specialization. And I kind of agree with that. I agree with that, the mindset that if you are in any field, you might as well be the best in that field. Take Lionel Messi in football, for example. He is so good with dribbling. If you give him a tennis racket, I'm not sure he could do a thing with it. But in terms of football, he's top of his game. And that's where it starts getting muddy. My one of my mentors, like John Maxwell, he's a leading expert in leadership, talks about being really good at one thing. You can only be really good at one thing. And when I hear this kind of voices, this kind of authority speaking in this way, I get kind of a bit angsty. I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying, but what about me? Like, I'm really good at a lot of things. Like, I am the epitome of diversification. Like, I love football. I'm good at football. I'm a left winger that plays really well on the pitch. I am a saxophonist that plays really well. I am really good in my classes. I'm a good leader. I sing well. I know how to write. I know how to do quite a lot of things. Handcraft, a bit of everything, different areas. I am good at it. And when I see things like this, people saying specialize, I start worrying a bit and I'm like, oh my goodness. So what does that mean for me? Like, I am diversified, but now they say I should specify. So I'm like, what in the world am I supposed to do? And I do not have the answer. And what I have found is that in the argument for diversification, what comes up a lot, I did this course on Coursera, which I talked about in the previous episode. If you haven't checked out that episode, go check it out. It's Increase Your Knowledge Bank, massive open online courses. You go check out that episode. And in terms of diversification, they talked about the fact that those who make breakthroughs in research are those who usually have had multiple experiences in different fields. So what I'm trying to say is that an agricultural scientist who has had research experience, who did neurobiology, then jumped over to do archaeology, then jumped over to do sociological history, and then comes back to his field to do some more research, can able to combine what they learned from the different fields and see things from a new novel perspective because they have integrated what they know from all these fields into one. Now, if that is not diversification, I do not know what is. And that gets me thinking, so as young as I am in my 20s, what do I do? Do I just sit down and say that, okay, I want to become the best saxophonist that ever lived, and narrow down my niche to that point where I'm just being so laser focused on the saxophone? Or do I say that, okay, I want to be a good saxophonist, but I also want to be a producer, right? And I also want to play the Yamaha Vanova, and I also want to sing, and I also want to lead, and I also want to do this and do that, and run a podcast and run a YouTube channel. You see how it starts getting hairy really quickly. And that's the question. What do we do in this generation? What do we do? What do they want us to do? Huh? Do they want us to be at the top of our fields? Do they want us to have multiple field experience? Do we want to be at the top of our fields? Do we want to be at the top of multiple fields? Do we want to be top of the field of fields where there are multiple fields? Do we want to be the top of the diversification field? I don't know. I really don't know. But what I can say is that there is wisdom in the idea of specialization, in that no matter what you do in life, make sure you're doing it to the best of your ability. My organic chemistry teacher, Hector Aguilar, always said, if you're going to be wrong, you might as well be confidently wrong. But I'm not saying you're wrong here to specialize. I'm saying that if you're going to do anything, you might as well be confident and do it to the best of your ability. This is really a really deep episode, and maybe when I'm older I will have more of the answers to know which is right, and maybe the question is actually wrong. Maybe it should not be specialization versus diversification. It should be specialization in diversification, or diversification while in specialization. Maybe that's the right question to ask. Maybe it's not a war between specialization, whether you're at the top of your field, or diversification, whether you have multiple experiences. Maybe you can do both. Maybe you can be at the top of your field at the same time, dabbling into other areas to expand your knowledge bank. And who knows, accidentally find new areas and new fields where you become specialized in the future. Maybe that's how to look at it. Maybe this whole questions are in the wrong way entirely. Maybe you might have the solution. Maybe you might have the answer. And maybe you're just sitting down there thinking, this kid is onto something. This average African kid is up to something big. Let me know. Reach out to me on Instagram at ITSEOBA. I don't bite. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Shout out to Podbean. I just figured out that we got featured on the Black History Month, the month of February listings, and that has been superb for the channel. That has been superb for the podcast. So if you're listening to this podcast from Podbeam, if you were recommended by the featured, thank you for listening. Thank you for staying tuned into the station. Please continue to listen and share these episodes with your friends and those who also listen to podcasts. We're trying to grow a community here, and your help is extraordinarily important to help us build a strong, vibrant community. Keep those comments coming. I love seeing the comments you guys leave on the page, on Podbeam, on my Instagram, on whatever platform you're listening to, reviews and all that kind of stuff. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you next time. We out.